Somebody said if you don't like playing with LeBron, you wouldn't like playing with Kobe. Bro, you guys got to stop these narratives, man. It's not that I didn't like playing with Bron, you guys. And I don't want to go into detail about it.
Kyrie Irving just sparked something that could shake one of the biggest names in basketball history. And the craziest part? It all came from a single line during a random live stream. Now fans are left wondering if he was simply telling his truth or if he revealed something that was never meant to come out. After years of being the sidekick, Kyrie now seems ready to speak freely. Join us as we break down everything that's been happening. The rift between.
Bro, like when I was in Cleveland and I was a young player, I had no idea Bron was going to come back. Yeah, I had no idea that Cleveland was going to welcome him back after the shit I witnessed when I was 18 years old and I had to watch him leave Cleveland. I don't think you guys realize the depths of that.
Kyrie Irving has been opening up lately, and a lot of what he said has people looking back at his relationship with LeBron James in a completely different way. Not just what he said, but also what he did. It didn't all explode at once. It happened slowly, in small moments that fans started to piece together. One of the biggest turning points came when news broke that Kyrie wanted out of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then something else caught people's attention. He reportedly unfollowed LeBron on Instagram. It immediately got people talking. Was there tension? Was something going on behind the scenes? Reports soon followed, saying Kyrie was tired of being seen as the sidekick. He didn't just want to be part of a great team, he wanted to lead one. He wanted to prove that he could carry a franchise on his own. The following year, Kyrie Irving had already moved on to a new team and was starting over. But fans quickly picked up on something unusual again. A clip started spreading online showing LeBron James visibly upset and yelling at his Cavaliers teammates during a game. But instead of paying attention to what was shown in the clip, fans zoomed in on something different. Kyrie Irving had liked the post. That one click sent the internet into a frenzy. People saw it as a quiet jab, but the real insight came years later. During live streams, Kyrie started reflecting on his early career.
I definitely feel like me learning from him helped us accelerate my understanding of the game that we're in, the business that we're in, because I was watching him deal with it in front of the camera, off the camera, being LeBron James. That comes with its own responsibility.
He later admitted that before LeBron James returned to Cleveland, he didn't truly understand what it meant to win at that level. He even said he had picked up some bad habits along the way, and being around LeBron helped him grow and change. But while that was his main point, people started twisting the story, suggesting he was hinting at something deeper. Now, when you put it all together, the social media moments, the old comments, and the way he reflects on that time, it starts to look like more than just teammates parting ways. It feels like a story about a young star trying to step out of a giant shadow and build his own identity, even if it means taking a different path. But to really understand how things went from championship success to distance and tension, we have to go back to where it all began. The beginning.
I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players and some of my favorite people.
It all really started long before LeBron James ever came back to Cleveland. Most people forget this part, but Kyrie Irving never actually had a say in where his NBA journey began. In 2011, he was drafted #1 overall, and just like that, his life changed overnight. No choices, no control over the destination. He landed in Cleveland, a team still trying to recover after LeBron left for Miami. And what he walked into wasn't a smooth setup. It was a team searching for identity, still rebuilding, still struggling to find direction. Kyrie was insanely gifted. His handles were already unreal, the kind of skill that made defenders look lost. But talent alone doesn't fix a broken team. And for a long time, he was basically carrying everything on his own. Over the years, Kyrie later admitted something important.
Because being a young player, when you're on a team that's not winning a lot of games, there's a lot of bad habits that form. And that's what ended up happening to me when I was very young. I had a lot of bad habits. I was not a winner. I was not a loser.
Those early losing seasons shaped him in ways he didn't even fully realize at the time. He said he developed habits he wasn't proud of. When you're the only real scoring option, you start forcing things. You start playing like it's you against everybody else, not because you want to, but because you have to. That's how he became a one-man show. But just when things were starting to shift, just when Kyrie was slowly growing into a more complete leader, everything flipped again. In 2014, LeBron announced he was returning to Cleveland, and in one moment, the entire direction of the franchise changed. Because when a superstar like LeBron walks in, everything resets. The spotlight moves, the expectations change, the system reshapes itself around him almost immediately. And suddenly, the player who was just beginning to grow into leadership is no longer the main focus. That was the new reality Kyrie stepped into, and when he later looked back on it, he never painted it as simply good or bad. He didn't attack LeBron, but he did choose his words carefully.
He's been a great leader for us. I have one father. That's my dad, Kyrie Irving. But for us, in terms of learning the nuances of the game and also how to win on the court and also how to carry ourselves off the court, I feel like he's been a great influence in that role.
When you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league. You know, every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of...
Kyrie has often described playing with LeBron as a different animal. Not in a casual way, but in a way that hinted at how intense and complicated the environment became. Because once you're on a team with LeBron, nothing is just about your own growth anymore. Everything gets measured through winning, chemistry, and fitting into a system built around one goal. Kyrie also spoke about how that period came with heavy media attention. He described it as a constant cycle of stories, pressure, and narratives being shaped outside their control. Things that fans saw on the surface were never the full picture. And after 3 seasons together, including a championship run, Kyrie made his decision. He wanted out.
I don't think that you owe anything to another person in terms of figuring out what you want to do with your life. And it's not anything personal. I'm not here to tirade anybody. I'm not here to go at any particular person or the...
This decision wasn't because he hated playing alongside LeBron, but because he felt he needed something different for himself. A chance to step out of that system, out of that shadow, and fully grow into the player he believed he could be on his own terms. As he later put it, it was simply, my time to move on. And once that decision was made, nothing in that story stayed the same again. Moving on from Cleveland.
The organization, because I have nothing but love for Cleveland. Like, I have nothing but love for the times that I spent there. There's nothing about that. It comes a time where you mature as an individual. It's time to make that decision.
Ever since Kyrie Irving moved on from Cleveland, the conversation around him has never really stopped shifting. Different stories, different opinions, different interpretations of what actually happened behind the scenes. But one thing remains consistent through all of it. Players don't stay in one situation forever, and at some point, they choose their own path. Some people respect that decision. Others still question it. For Kyrie Irving, that decision was deeply personal. And from his point of view, it wasn't just about basketball anymore. According to him, LeBron James didn't just return to Cleveland as a superstar player. He came back with something bigger than that. Something that shaped everything around him. Control. Now, to understand what Kyrie meant, you have to look at LeBron's journey before he returned. Before his move to Miami, LeBron was already one of the most talented players in the league, but he was also under constant pressure. Emotionally charged on the sidelines, sometimes reactive in big moments, and still learning how to fully lead a franchise the way people expected him to. He had the skills, no doubt, but the leadership side of his game was still evolving. Then came Miami. His time with the Miami Heat under Pat Riley completely changed the structure around him. That environment was built on discipline, accountability, and strict focus. Every detail mattered. Every decision had a purpose. And over those 4 years, LeBron didn't just become a better player. He became a more controlled, more calculated version of himself. That's the LeBron the world remembers most clearly now. Composed, efficient, and always in command. But here's where Kyrie's perspective becomes interesting.
He's considered the leader of the team, your teammate who you speak glowingly and very highly about.
From his point of view, LeBron didn't just leave Miami as a better athlete. He left with a deeper understanding of how the entire system around a superstar works. Not just what happens on the court, but what happens around the court too. The media narratives, the public perception, the way stories are shaped, softened, or amplified depends on who's involved. Miami wasn't only about basketball structure. It was about managing the entire image of a superstar and protecting it from damage. Every angle was considered. Every message was controlled in some way. So when LeBron returned to Cleveland, he didn't just bring a better version of his game. He brought that entire mindset with him. And that's where Kyrie's experience becomes complicated. Because suddenly, everything around the team felt different. The attention wasn't evenly spread. The spotlight wasn't shared in the same way. The conversations outside the locker room often centered around one person, one storyline, one legacy. Kyrie has hinted in different ways that this environment felt controlled. He's spoken about how narratives can be shaped before the public even sees them clearly, how certain angles get pushed while others get ignored, how politics exist behind closed doors that fans never get to witness. And from that perspective, it stops feeling like just two players trying to win together. It starts to feel like a system where everything has a direction, and not every voice carries the same weight. For Kyrie, that kind of environment changes everything. Because he was trying to grow into his own identity at the same time. He wasn't just a supporting player anymore in his mind. He wanted to lead. He wanted to define his own path without constantly being measured against someone else's legacy. So when you put it all together, you start to understand the tension wasn't always loud or obvious. It wasn't always visible on the surface. But it was there in the way decisions were made, in the way stories were told, and in the way roles were defined. And then came the moment that was supposed to change everything. The moment that should have either locked their partnership in for years or quietly signaled that things were already drifting apart. Maybe if that moment had gone differently, Kyrie Irving would have never looked at the situation the same way again. But that's where the real turning point begins. When the shift happened.
Ooh, the score of the game was 92-92. Oh, excuse me, was it 89-89? 89-89, we hadn't scored for a few minutes. We called the timeout, I think it was 1:06 left on the clock. From that point on, we drew up a play to get a screen and roll between me and J.R. Smith. And then, you saw a one-on-one matchup between me and Steph. God willing, I made the shot, and it's one of those memorable moments forever in NBA history.
In Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals, everything came down to one moment. The pressure was massive. The score was tight. Every possession felt like it could decide history. And in the middle of all that chaos, 24-year-old Kyrie Irving stepped forward and delivered one of the coldest moments the game has ever seen. Kyrie Irving finished the night with 26 points in 43 minutes, fighting through fatigue and pressure on every end of the floor. It wasn't just about scoring. It was about timing, control, and staying calm when everything was falling apart around him. Then came the moment everyone remembers as the shot. With the score tied at 89 and less than a minute left, Irving got the ball at the top. The Cavaliers ran a pick and roll to force a switch, pulling Stephen Curry into the matchup instead of Klay Thompson. One dribble back, a step to create space, and then a clean step-back three-pointer from deep. That shot gave Cleveland the lead and eventually sealed their first championship in franchise history. It ended a 52-year drought for the city. The celebration that followed was pure emotion, relief, joy, disbelief, everything at once. On paper, it should have been a defining Kyrie Irving moment forever. But that's where things start to feel different. When people look back at that game, the story that took over wasn't Kyrie's shot. It was LeBron James's chase-down block on Andre Iguodala. That highlight became the symbol of the entire championship run. It was replayed constantly, talked about endlessly, and turned into the headline image of the finals. Meanwhile, Kyrie's shot, the one that actually put the Cavaliers ahead, slowly faded into the background of the story. For Kyrie, that mattered more than people realized. Because while he had just delivered one of the biggest shots in NBA history, the spotlight didn't stay on him. The narrative quickly became centered around LeBron's legacy, LeBron's redemption, LeBron's greatness. Even after a finals where Kyrie averaged around 27 points per game and played a huge role in every win, his impact started to feel like a supporting detail in someone else's story. In the next season, the 2017 NBA Finals, Cleveland went up against the Golden State Warriors again, but this time things looked completely different. Kevin Durant had joined Golden State, and the balance of power shifted hard. Kyrie still showed up. He averaged nearly 29 points in the finals, scoring at an elite level and matching up with the pressure possession for possession. But Cleveland was overwhelmed in 5 games, and after the loss, the conversation outside the team locker room felt familiar again. The blame didn't land evenly. Kyrie got criticized. The supporting cast got picked apart. But the main focus, once again, circled back in a way that left a lot of fans debating what really happened behind the scenes. Not long after that, things changed fast. Trade rumors started to surface. And suddenly, the same player who helped deliver a championship was being mentioned in conversations about being moved. Behind the scenes, discussions grew louder. Kyrie met with team leadership and made a decision that shocked the basketball world. He asked to leave.
I got a chance to develop and evolve as a man, and I just felt it was best for my intentions to leave.
He didn't just want a new team. He wanted control over his future. A chance to be the main option, the focal point, the leader of his own system. By August 2017, the deal was done. Kyrie was traded to the Boston Celtics. For Cleveland, it marked the end of a championship core that had brought a title back to the city. For Kyrie, it marked the beginning of something new, something he believed would give him full ownership of his career. But the reaction was anything but calm. Fans were divided instantly, especially supporters of Lebron, who saw the move in a very different light. Some felt Kyrie was walking away from greatness. Others felt he was being unfairly pushed out of a situation he helped build. No matter your opinions, one thing is certain. Kyrie did something rare in that era. He didn't wait for the system to define him. He stepped out of it. And that decision didn't just change his career, it changed how people would talk about everything that came before it. Fans' reactions.
Please, can you just reenact the game when you hit over Stephen Curry? That's it. That's it. Before we leave.
That's it.
Come on. That's it. Come on.
Right here. That's it.
Sorry, fellas. That's the past.
Oh my gosh, bro.
It's time to create new memories, man.
I can do it.
When Kyrie Irving left Cleveland, the reaction was immediate and intense. For many fans, especially supporters of LeBron James, it felt like betrayal. This wasn't just a player changing teams. This was someone walking away from a championship group that had just made history. At first, people were shocked. Then the anger kicked in. Some fans burned Kyrie's jersey. Others covered his name with words like unloyal. And when he made comments praising Boston, it only made things worse. A lot of Cleveland fans took it personally. When Kyrie returned for his first game against the Cavaliers in 2017, the boos said it all. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd let him hear it. The message was clear. They hadn't forgiven him. But the reaction wasn't just about leaving. Kyrie's decision challenged the way many people saw that Cleveland team. For years, the idea was simple. LeBron leads, and everyone else follows. Kyrie stepping away broke that image. He didn't wait to be replaced or pushed out. He chose to leave at his peak. That didn't sit well with a lot of people. From that point on, the criticism grew louder. His time in Boston became a talking point when things didn't click perfectly. His injuries were questioned. Even his personality came under fire, with people calling him difficult or unpredictable. No matter what he did, it felt like the story around him had already been written. Then during the pandemic, things escalated even more. Kyrie's personal decision not to take the COVID vaccine brought heavy backlash. People weren't just disagreeing, they were angry. Some even called for him to be banned from the league. At that point, it felt bigger than a basketball. Through all of this, LeBron mostly stayed quiet. He didn't add to the drama, but eventually he spoke up, reminding fans to respect Kyrie and appreciate what he helped achieve in Cleveland. And that's the part that still stands. Despite everything, the criticism, the debates, the pressure, Kyrie didn't back down. He made his choice, stood by it, and kept moving forward. Elevated.
I like success can be, seen from a different vantage point. We failed in terms of our goal of making the playoffs and being a great team, but I think we succeeded in setting ourselves up for the future.
Kyrie Irving's story didn't end when he left Cleveland. If anything, that's where a new chapter really began. Despite all the noise, all the criticism, all the pressure, Kyrie Irving didn't fall apart. Instead, he rebuilt himself. When Kyrie arrived at the Dallas Mavericks, things weren't perfect at first. There were questions everywhere. Could he still lead? Could he fit into a system? Could he work alongside another superstar?
Right? Like, I don't know that the talking heads thought that you guys were going to get to the finals, but after the trade, things kept improving. There's a lot of excitement, and you've kind of seen it all. You've been a champion. You know, you've played international ball. You're a vet, but you're still at the peak of your game.
But over time, those questions started answering themselves. His partnership with Luka Doncic grew into one of the most dangerous duos in the league. It wasn't just about talent. It was about balance. Luka controlled the game, and Kyrie delivered when it mattered most. That's how Kyrie earned a new nickname, the Closer. During the 2024 playoff run, he showed up again and again in the biggest moments, calm, focused, and locked in. He helped lead Dallas all the way to the NBA Finals, their first appearance in over a decade. And even though they didn't win it all, something had clearly changed. Kyrie wasn't just a star anymore. He was a leader. On the court, his game reached another level. He became one of the most efficient scorers in the entire league, putting up over 25 points per game while shooting at an elite level. Every move looked controlled. Every decision felt intentional. Off the court, the growth was just as clear. He became a respected voice in the locker room. Younger players looked up to him. Teammates trusted him. The same guy who was once labeled difficult was now being praised for his maturity and presence. And maybe the biggest change wasn't even visible on the stat sheet. It was internal. Kyrie finally looked at peace. Not the kind of peace people talk about for headlines, but real peace. The kind that comes when you understand yourself, when you stop trying to prove something to everyone else, and just focus on your path.
Well, Kyrie, obviously we want your thoughts on the Luka trade and, just first thing, what was your reaction when you found out?
Just really shocked, and you just don't imagine that you're gonna get ready to go to sleep and then you find out news like that. So it's still a grieving process right now. Miss my hermano. We had a lot of time together. Keith too, and Maxie.
When Luka Doncic was no longer part of the team, people expected everything to fall apart again. They thought Kyrie would struggle without another superstar next to him, but that didn't happen. He stayed steady. He kept producing. He kept leading. And in that moment, he proved something important. This was never about his talent or his ability to lead. It was about perception. For years, people said Kyrie was hard to build around. But in Dallas, he showed the opposite. He became one of the most reliable players on the team, someone you could count on night after night. But just when everything seemed to be coming together, another setback hit. In 2025, Kyrie suffered a serious ACL injury during a game against the Sacramento Kings. It was a tough moment, the kind that can stop any player's momentum. He had surgery soon after and is expected to return in 2026. Now let's rewind to that live stream moment because Kyrie Irving wasn't finished speaking. After everything he's been through, he still had more to say. What happened on live? One moment that really added fuel to the fire came in 2020, and it didn't even happen on the court. Kyrie Irving was live on Instagram with Kevin Durant, just having a normal conversation. But then he said something that instantly caught everyone's attention. He talked about finally having a teammate he trusted to take big shots in clutch moments. And just like that, everything exploded. Because people immediately connected that comment back to LeBron James. Fans started saying, wait, does that mean Kyrie didn't trust LeBron in those same moments? Even though Kyrie never mentioned LeBron directly, the message was taken that way by a lot of people. And once again, the criticism came rushing in. But here's where the story takes a deeper turn. After years of staying mostly quiet, Kyrie started speaking with a different tone. At one point, he looked straight into the camera during a live stream and said something that stuck with people. He promised that when his career is over, he's going to tell the full story. Not pieces of it, not the polished version, the real story. And the way he said it didn't feel casual. It felt like someone who had been holding things in for a long time. Someone who has seen how narratives are built, how stories get shaped, and how certain details never make it to the public. Then he said something even stronger. He made it clear that nobody on the outside can fully understand what he went through. That no one can truly judge his decisions unless they lived in those exact moments. That wasn't just frustration talking. That sounded like someone who believes there's a whole side of the story people haven't seen yet. And that's what has people paying attention now. For years, the image around LeBron has been strong, controlled, and almost untouchable in the public eye. Every win, every loss, every storyline has been carefully analyzed and debated. But Kyrie is hinting that there's more beneath the surface. That changes the conversation. Now, the question isn't just about what happened back then. It's about what hasn't been said yet. And when Kyrie finally decides to speak fully, without worrying about contracts, team dynamics, or outside pressure, it's going to hit differently. And if he really does open up one day, honestly and completely, the basketball world is going to stop and listen, because whatever he says next could change how people see that entire era. But how did LeBron react to all of these? LeBron's reaction.
Oh, when I heard the comment that Kyrie made, I wanted to, one, not only find the whole transcript, and I was a little like damn.
Yeah.
The whole time while I was there, I only wanted to see him be an MVP of our league.
When LeBron James finally spoke about Kyrie's comment, his reaction was a lot calmer than people expected. He admitted that it hurt a little bit. Not in an angry way, just honest. On his side, he said he always wanted to see Kyrie Irving succeed. That was it. No long explanation, no back and forth drama. Just a simple response that showed there were real emotions behind everything people had been arguing about online. But the internet didn't keep it simple. Fans and commentators took that small moment and stretched it into something much bigger. Debates started again. Old clips got brought back. People picked sides like it was still 2017 all over again. Things even took a strange turn. Some speculation started going way too far, especially after Kyrie's injury in late 2025. Instead of focusing on his recovery, a few voices online began pushing extreme ideas, suggesting his career and even his life might be in danger. That kind of talk quickly moved away from reality. As of early 2026, Kyrie still hasn't returned to the court, which is expected after a serious ACL injury. Recovering from something like that takes time, patience, and careful rehab. It's not unusual for players to be out for months while they work their way back. But in the absence of updates, the noise has only grown louder. Some people are now saying he might never return. Others are going even further, claiming he doesn't even need to retire to start revealing everything he hinted at before, that he could speak out at any time. And that idea has people watching closely, because Kyrie already made it clear he has more to say. He's hinted that there are deeper stories behind his journey, things fans never saw, conversations that happen behind closed doors. But here's the reality. Right now, Kyrie is recovering. That's the focus. Not rumors, not speculation, not internet theories. And while people keep guessing what he might say in the future, nothing has been confirmed about any big reveal or sudden decision to speak out. Still, the attention hasn't gone away. Whether people support him or criticize him, Kyrie Irving remains one of the most talked about players of his generation. And with everything he's hinted at, people are still waiting to hear what comes next. So, what do you think will come next? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update.